What is going on, YouTube? It's your boy Cole Rocket 21, back again with week 7 of the NPDL uh, Draft League season 19. Um, our VGC season keeps rolling on. If you haven't watched the video that I uploaded yesterday, this morning, depending on when this one goes up, spoiler alert in 3, 2, 1. We took another dub, so while our differential still is not that good, we're sitting at 4 and 2, looking pretty nice to at least have a shot to make playoffs, which is always my goal. I think 500 should about get it done in a 14-team league and 8 playoff spots for grabs, but that does not mean we are content. So here goes week 7. We're going to start with the matchup as always. We've got a little weather war on our hands this week. My opponent has, I think, one of the scarier drafts on paper, and they have been busy IRL, and so they've only gotten 2 matches done, I think, to my knowledge, out of the 6. So not a ton of scouting that I've been able to do, which is unfortunate. However, the coaches of this team, Bird and Prizz, are known to bring some unconventional techs and singles, and so they scare me a little bit for what they might be able to cook up in a doubles format. Let's run through their team. Goldango, obviously one of the premier doubles threats. Ghost Steel is one of the best types in the game. With its ability Good as Gold, it is immune to status moves as well. Open Terra, so it can also tear into like Fairy or Water, Dragon are all pretty common defensive Terra types for it. Make It Rain is one of the best moves in the game, hitting both targets with that stab steel. Could also just Terra Steel to boost that up. Shadow Ball, yeah, it gets Thunderbolt for coverage. Recover, Nasty Plot, usually kind of some 4 of those 5 are what you're looking at. So definitely a big threat that is pretty scary into my team, especially when you partner with the next Mon Talonflame. Talonflame, I think, is incredibly good in draft. The Gale Wings ability is actually much more usable in draft VGC than it is in singles, uh, because hazards are not as potent, so you can also kind of have a bit more flexibility with Talonflame's item. It gets Taunt, U-Turn, really strong dual stab in Flare Blitz plus Brave Bird, Will-O-Wisp to potentially burn your opponents, and it is scorching fast at 126 speed, so kind of outpaces. It's faster than everything on my team, so I had to work around that. It's really strong setting Tailwind against me for really any of its big offensive threats, namely Tyranitar and Garchomp. I'll kind of lump those two together because this is sort of the core of his Sand team. Garchomp, again, a very scary threat in any format, really. It's a pseudo legendary. He's got a few strong flying types that he can just spam Earthquake next to in Talonflame and Vivian. Um, Dragon type stab, just pretty good. Uh, Rock Slide, again, as we've mentioned many times, at 102 speed can lead to some shenanigans. And Swords Dance and Scale Shot for setup options. Tyranitar sets the sand for it, which is the last thing to note with Garchomp, is it does get Sand Veil to add more shenanigans in. So if that sand is up, there is a chance that any of my moves can miss, um, which is just part of the game. And so we'll worry about that when it eventually comes. Tyranitar, another pseudo legendary. They just drafted a team full of good Pokemon. Tyranitar against Stab Rock Slide. It gets knockoff. Assault Vest, pretty common. It gets, that early gen everything coverage. Whatever you could possibly need, it's got. Um, Also gets Dragon Dance if they want to take a setup option, but really knockoff Rock Slide are kind of this thing's bread and butter, using that dual stab. And unfortunately, I did not think my fighting type was that good into Tyranitar. Plus, again, Open Terra, so it being able to switch types, pretty valuable for it there. And again, sets up that sand for Garchomp. Next, we have Vivian. Kind of working my way snaking back. Vivian is actually pretty viable, I think, in draft. 89 speed is pretty good, and it gets Rage Powder and Sleep Powder, and I believe it has Compound Eyes, so it's a buffed Sleep Powder. Doesn't miss that often. Gets Quiver Dance if you want to run that. You can just run it Focus Sash Rage Powder while something sets up next to it. Um, Kind of just a very strong nuisance Pokemon, which is also their next one to the left in Scraggy. The Prevo of Scrafty, it has actually seen, I think, more VGC success than Scrafty technically, um, but it's just an Intimidate Mon with Eviolite, makes it decently bulky. Um, it gets, I believe, Fake Out, Knockoff, Drain Punch, not doing a lot of damage, probably Snarl, more common than even like Drain Punch in terms of clicking moves, but again, Intimidate in doubles is very strong. Houndstone is the last piece of their Sand Core. Houndstone gets Sand Rush, and so if that sand is up from Tyranitar, it doubles its speed. It can use Last Respects in this doubles format as opposed to the singles format, so if sand is up and it's the last thing on the field, we're in trouble because that'll be hitting with Stab Ghost for like 150 base power, I think. It might even be 200. Um, Silly strong, gets some solid coverage with like Play Rough, Crunch, Shadow Sneak if you need it. It also gets Will-O-Wisp if he wants to bring a more bulky set. It gets Fluffy or Fur Coat, one of the two. Um, so if he wants to go that way, he can run that with like a Body Press set. I don't necessarily see that coming into my team, but we'll see. It's pretty solid into a couple of my Pokemon. Hisuian Electrode, kind of back to the same theory as Talonflame. Incredibly fast. Electric Grass is a solid stab combo coverage with the grass covering for Electric's immunity in ground. Um, doesn't hit the hardest, but gets a few interesting tech things to pair with the rest of his team. I think he gets Screech and Metal Sound, which both lower stats that his next mons might want to hit with. It can always be annoying with T-Wave. Wigglytuff is again another weird Gen 1, but like normal fairy type. I think it gets a lot of good versatility for draft because again, Gen 1 normal type, it gets all of the coverage you could possibly want. Plus, it gets Hyper Voice Stab, which is just really good, as you've seen me use with Girafarig in a few other matches. Very similar idea to that. And then finally, Wugtrio. Um, Not a lot to say. It's again fast. It's a water type. Um, Triple Dive is okay, I guess. It gets Aqua Jet, Sucker Punch. I'm gonna be honest. I paid very little mind in my builder to Wugtrio, because if he brings it, then we deal with that as it comes. But speaking of my build, let's show you what I've got. Uh, I did not feel great about this matchup, and honestly, out of a rule of principle, I've been trying to keep my prep time down to like less than an hour. I got other things going on in life, and I think when I, um, spend too much time on my builder, I tend to overthink, and so I've been trying to spend like an hour-ish building and just kind of roll with it and see where it goes. And so far, it's worked to decent success. So um, we'll see how that works today. We are starting off again. It wouldn't be a weather war if I didn't bring my own weather. So we have our Alolan Ninetales with Snow Warning to try to counter that Tyranitar. Now it is faster than Tyranitar, and so if he does switch in after me, if we come in at the same time, his sand will override my Snow Warning. So that is just a thing to note. Moonblast, Icy Wind, Protect, Aurora Veil. I think Aurora Veil is really big if I can get it up in this match. You'll kind of see I sort of am trying to run some pairings in this. This week, knowing that I might make playoffs, I'm trying a little different stuff here. Light Clay will boost that Aurora Veil from 5 turns to 8 turns. If I can get it up, just really help my team eat hits better from their pretty hard hitting team. So that's Alolan Ninetales. I'm Terra Water just in case, at least make him think about firing off uh, good as gold, not good as gold. Make it rain with Goldango. The next Pokemon is Focus Sash Inteleon. We're running Torrent this week because of that Focus Sash. Even though I don't know if Sash is great with weather up, just having an option of, guaranteeing getting some hit off, I thought was pretty good. Where Terra Water, just to make those water type moves hit even harder. Muddy Water, this thing is fast, so it hits pretty hard into his team and will hit both slots. Gives me kind of my accuracy edge back, like he's got with Sandveil. Potential accuracy drop with Muddy Water. Maybe give me a little bit of luck. We'll take what we can get. Ice Beam, again, just Oko's Garchomp there. I decided to elect for Aquajet this week. Again, I think with how fast their team is, I think having some priority is good. This was the slot I found to best fit it on. And then again, Protect is, because this thing's frail, might force a little bit of mind games here. Moving on down, Arcanine. Um, Bring Your Intimidate again. I think his team is, besides Goldango, pretty uh, physically focused. And so, um, oh, I actually do need to go back. Hold on. Yeah, Vivian is 89 speed. I'm being silly here. Let's guarantee that we outspeed that thing there. Whoops. Glad I caught that in my prep. Anyways, enough speed to outspeed Vivian and Goldango, which is what I previously had it set to. Flare Blitz is a good nuke for Goldango. Rock Slide is just pretty solid into his team, especially Talonflame and Vivian that are both 4 times weak to it. And then I moved this third move around a bunch. I landed on close combat. I didn't love not having a way to hit Tyranitar and Garchomp physically, and so close combat is kind of my hardest hitting move for them. Protect to possibly tank, an Earthquake Rock Slide coming into both slots. Air Balloon again because spoilers, I'm not bringing Dragonite this week. I thought it had a really rough matchup. I don't know that I love Arcanine's matchup either, but it felt more necessary. And so while I am running Terra Grass, Air Balloon kind of gives me an option to potentially switch in on like an Earthquake, um, and then potentially still Terra Grass later if I need it, or it makes it so that I don't feel forced to have to run Arcanine's Terra. Terra Grass is also nice because Sleep Powder from Vivian will not hit into Terra Grass, which is the same reason I'm running it on Spiritomb, which is coming off the bench I think for the first time this week. We're running Pressure because it's got Pressure Infiltrator. Mental Herb, I'm trying a little Trick Room this week. We got Trick Room, Will-O-Wisp, Shadow Ball, Snarl. I think this plus Mudsdale in Trick Room are pretty good into his team. Sort of Will-O-Wisp, Snarl to help Mudsdale tank more hits. Shadow Ball hits pretty decently into his team outside of Wigglytuff. So that is that. Pretty defensive with enough special defense to take 2 hits guaranteed from Goldango if it's, I believe, in almost max special attack. Next we have Titan. Against my better judgment, I am bringing Titan with Slush Rush against a team that can counteract weather. I don't know that it was the best option, but I kind of wanted to try it out again. Trying some things this week felt weird about the whole matchup as a whole. So we were bringing Loaded Dice, Icicle Spear, Terra Blast with Terra Electric. Pretty good into Goldango again, spamming Make It Rain. High Horsepower. These 3 moves hit incredibly hard into his team, and if I can win the Weather War, I'm going to outspeed his entire team. And then Protect, again, just to potentially scout some turns, stall some sand turns, etc., etc. And then finally, we have our Mudsdale, Min Speed, High Horsepower, Rock Slide, Body Press, Protect, hits into his team very hard. Citrus Berry for some longevity, trying to pair it with Spiritomb, get some Trick Room up, see if Horse can start chunking a little bit into their team. And so that is the team for the week. I know they are waiting on me. I'm going to take a sip of water and get this challenge sent off. Again, don't know that I feel great about the team, but we will see how it goes. Hope y'all are having a good day. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully we can get a dub, but if not, feeling okay. Here is their team. They did bring the Scrafty. Again, I guess I didn't totally touch on it. I didn't bring Dragonite because I think their team is just incredibly good into it. It struggles to hit gold really hard. Garchomp outspeeds it. Tyranitar has Stab Rock Slide into it. Houndstone and Talonflame both get Will-O-Wisp into it. And they've got Scraggy for speed control, or not speed control, Intimidate. And so, yeah, that was kind of my logic there. Chomp, T-Tar, just trying to take some notes. Scrag, T-Flame, Ghost Gold, Garchomp is Steel, Water T-Tar, Ghost Houndstone, Fire Scraggy, and Rock Talonflame. Okay. I hit him with a GLHF real quick. And I think I might try Trick Room mode on the very first game. And just kind of see how that goes. And then I think I want to bring my Snow Core in the back. So I'm going to start with Spiritomb Mudsdale. And then we're going to go Ninetales and Satitan. I'm going to turn this timer on here. Okay. And they lead Garchomp T-Tar. So I think I'm just going to start by firing off a Trick Room here. And then Mudsdale. I'm almost wondering about just clicking Protect. But I think instead they don't have a ton to hit me super hard, and so I think I'm just going to try to get some chip on that T-Tar, get a high horsepower off here. Actually, I think I Trick Room. Yeah, I'm in a high horsepower here. I think they're potentially afraid of a body press into that slot. Clicking high horsepower maybe makes them go into their ghost type. They Terra. Okay, that's totally fine. So, you know how I mentioned them having crazy tech? Terra Water, Muddy Water T-Tar is about as insane of tech as you get. Uh, yeah, always something with these boys. Uh, and so Mudsdale thankfully takes that pretty well. I've got some good chip, there's good bulk going into it. I'm going to Will-O-Wisp Garchomp. He can't do a ton into it. And even though I got my Trick Room up, I think I'm just going to protect Mudsdale here. Get that Willow off. Okay, Muddy Water comes out again. And Dragon Claw, which we eat decently. Another turn of Sand Chip is also pretty big. And so now I think I just want to Snarl into a, what's going to do more damage here? At a +1 defense, it's probably still high horsepower. So I'm going to high horsepower there. That does not pick up the KO, which is why we Snarl. Oh, and he's Covert Cloak on Garchomp. Okay, and they've got Declaw. T-Tar has Muddy Water, which is crazy. Oh, and Protect. We'll see what they go out to here. I got 2 more turns of Trick Room, and they've got 2 more turns of Sand. I think Spiritomb goes down here. And so I think regardless, I just try to Will-O-Wisp the Houndstone here. And I think I try to get a body press off into Garchomp. Okay, Garchomp protects. That's fine. We land our Willow, and he is Last Respects on Houndstone, which makes sense. Houndstone is Last Respects. Okay, and I actually go Titan here. And I click Icicle Spear into Garchomp under our last turn of Trick Room. I should underspeed both of these Pokemon. And so we're going to get our Icicle Spear off. And then Mudsdale, I think we just high horsepower. And that does a good chunk of damage. Yep. Okay, and we get our Icicle Spear off. Last Respects is definitely going to hurt. But then Trick Room goes down. And Gold comes in last. Okay. there's a part of me, gold is going to outspeed everything here. And so I think what I might do is try to get cheeky. It could potentially cost me the game, so we'll see. But I think, um, let's see. I think Make It Rain is incredibly free here. And so do I protect the Titan this turn? Or do I... No, I think I'm going to Terra and Terra Blast into the Houndstone. And I'm going to Hard Switch in Ninetales, which will proc my Slush Rush. Oh, and that is about the perfect play there. They protect gold. We are going to get a high horsepower off. And I think just trying to get an Aurora Veil up here is the best thing to do with Ninetales. Make It Rain comes off. It is going to pick off Ninetales. They're going to go down. We've got Slush Rush up here. And we just... Terra Blast, I believe, should take this thing out. But it took 70 from a high horsepower. It's at 29. My pen go. We are protect, Make It Rain. I've got a little bit of time here left, so I'm actually going to calc this. Titan 252 adamant into gold. Terra Blast, high horsepower. Terra Blast, electric. We are terrestrialized. Should definitely pick up that KO there. And then I suppose Mudsdale, we just high horsepower as well. Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to check. We wrote down everything. I'm assuming that Houndstone is definitely Sand Rush. Okay. Now, game 2. I think I might switch up the lead here and go with Arcanine and Teleon lead. But I think that Ninetales and Titan in the back is still pretty good. And so I would not be shocked to see at least Talonflame come to this match. Okay, here comes Scraggy and Gold. So we trade Intimidates here. And I think that I'm just going to lead with a double protect and scout what they want to do. Because I do believe that Scraggy gets fake out. I'm going to try to maintain my sash here. On both, see if they potentially burn their Terra on gold. I'm trying to live a Flare Blitz. Yeah, I feel pretty solid about the double protect. If they nasty plot, then we deal with that. Both of my Pokemon outspeed. And truthfully, I feel okay about just letting Scrafty sit here. I don't think it does a whole lot, so I do think I can target down. Okay, there's a fake out, and Gold clicks Shadow Ball into Arcanine. Okay. So I think here I just Flare Blitz Goldango, and I think I Muddy Water. Yeah, that's fine. Muddy Water comes off. I do get a crit into Scrafty. Scrafty goes Super Fang, pops my air balloon. That I don't think is the end of the world. I think I just clicked the same play again. Obviously, they could switch into Garchomp T-Tar in the back, into Arcanine. But for the most part, Scraggy is Fake Out and Super Fang. Yeah, I feel pretty solid about this play. Okay, they do Terra. Um, which I think is not unexpected. Okay, Arcanine goes down. Scraggy gets a Focus Sash. And I think that I just go Titan here again. Um, and I protect Titan and I Muddy Water. Muddy Water should pick off both. If they've got T-Tar in the back, I at least want to try to win this Weather War exchange again. Um, their Terra is burned here too on Goldango that's pretty low HP. Okay, and they get the Protect off. I protect as well. Okay. Houndstone comes in. Yeah, once again, I mean, he might click Last Respects with Houndstone here, but I think that at this point, I am pretty clear to click. I think I just keep clicking Muddy Water. I could potentially do Houndstone. Um, Icicle Spear with loaded dice. Yeah, I feel pretty good about Icicle Spear, loaded dice, and Teleon 252 modest. It's not, but functionally. Into Goldango, which is Terra Ghost. I think Ice Beam should pick off the gold, and so I'm actually going to Ice Beam. Okay, he does go T-Tar. That makes sense. Get his speed off. So we go back into Ninetales here. And he's already terastallized. And so I feel like T-Tar probably switches here, which makes me think Houndstone is definitely the bigger threat. However, I do think that I can potentially clear both. I think once again this is a pretty easy Terra on Titan. And I think that I just go Icicle Spear into the Houndstone. And I think that I Icy Wind potentially. I think I just Moonblast. Yeah, I think I just Moonblast the T-Tar. If they're Power Jump, they're fully special T-Tar. That's kind of crazy, but sure, man. Okay, Okay, and then this is the last one. Ninetales Alola into gold that is Terrad. Moonblast, I think, should pick up. Oh, yeah. Moonblast should pick up a KO. So I high horsepower into T-Tar here. I Moonblast. T-Tar lives, and gold goes down. Okay. Snarl comes off. Sweet. We are gonna take this 2-0 victory here. We just Moonblast. Icicle Spear. Sweet. And we win the Weather War. So that feels pretty good. Um, yeah, nice 2-0 dub against an opponent that I think is pretty good. I thought they played really well. I think no Talonflame kind of surprised me. Uh, but yeah, I felt really good about the way that I maneuvered that weather. So thank y'all for tuning in. That is everything from me. And we have one more week of the regular season. I think 5-2 should definitely qualify us for playoffs at this point. So we will probably have at least one more match. But until probably next week, I know we got holidays going on, so I got some travel coming up. So hopefully not too delayed here. But yes, thank you as always for joining in. My name is Cole Rocket 21, and I'm the coach of the Las Vegas Cinderaces. And until we blast off on our next adventure, I'll see ya. Peace.